Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, bringing you another StarCraft commentary. Apparently, channeling Shatner. This is possibly the highest level game in the entire round of 16. That's actually very debatable because there's so many freaking strong players in this this OSL, but Jesus. This could be a finals right here. Nada versus Boxer. Both of these players in the tip-top of their game. You know, tons of titles between the two of them, even at this early stage, relatively speaking, in their careers, since, you know, Boxer is still playing StarCraft, actually. Not competitively, but he actually streams on Twitch. And does all kinds of other stuff because he's just a freaking legend. And, yeah, I mean, Boxer is the nerd who was so good at being a nerd that he got rich and famous and married a movie star. Like, and not that marrying a movie star should necessarily be something to strive for, but it's just, you know, a very stereotypical, like, sign of accomplishment, or at least of, you know, anyway. But, yeah. Actually, I don't know if she was in movies. I think maybe she was a TV star. I'm actually not sure. Slayer's Jessica. Well, I guess she's probably not called Slayer's Jessica anymore because Slayer's is no longer a team. But she was known as Slayer's Jessica when I met her several times when I was in Korea. But in any case, moving on, let's get back into this TVT. And I was so excited about this game that I forgot to check the colors at the beginning, but it doesn't even matter because I, you know, have been following these guys and I'm so excited about them in general that I know both of their Korean names well enough that I can read the Korean at the top and know that Boxer is going to be the red Terran at the 9 o'clock position, who we're seeing right now, and that's Im Yo Hwan, and Lee Yeon-yol, who is Nada, is going to be the yellow Terran at the 6 o'clock position, and there is the Boxer, the man himself. Super excited about this game, though. These guys have never actually... I said this could be a finals. I checked. I don't think these guys have actually ever met any finals, other than there was this, like, show match tournament, which was just it was called, like, the Four Kings tournament. It was just Nada, Boxer, Yellow, and Reach. And that was the whole tournament. So it was, like, just this invitational, right? And so Boxer and Nada ended up in the finals of that, but, like, it's not quite the same because it was just, like, a little show match thing kind of thing. So, when there's only 4 players, it's pretty easy for 2 of them to meet. Anyway, yeah, so we're seeing pretty identical builds here. Curious to see where we're going to see any variation. These guys are not just 2 of the best players mechanically of this age, but 2 of the smartest players to ever play StarCraft. 2 of the most creative players, potentially in esports history. So there's the potential in this game for some shenanigans. The shenanigans you've ever seen are possible in this game. This is a round of 16 game, though, so you're more likely to see shenanigans in, you know, a bigger match with, you know, later on in the tournament when you have more time to prepare for multiple games and different maps and stuff like that. But again, remember though, if I remember correctly, the way that this format, the stage is formatted, you have 1 game from each on a given day. You have 1 game from each group. Right? So I'm doing this just in order of groups. So I'm just doing Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. But it was, what they did is they had 1 from each group on a day. And then the next week they had 1 from each group, another 1 from each group, right? I think they did two days a week so that, you know, every player basically played 1 game a week for the round of 16. So they did have a lot of time to prepare for this. So we could see some shenanigans. We'll see. These ain't your Nana's shenanigans. These are Boxer and Nada's shenanigans. And we got an academy going down. And just a bunch of Marines on the map so far. Nothing too crazy. I think we just have 1 factor for each player as well. No, I'm sorry. We do have a 2nd factor for Boxer. I was too busy thinking about ways to pronounce shenanigans that I missed that. But Boxer's pushing out here with a 2 factory build. And, you know, this is what it looks like. This is why it's called a fake double, because if you produce units out of 1 factory and you save up money to expand, you can actually push out with this exact same force with like 5 Marines, a Vulture, and a tank. and actually be expanding behind it, and that's where the fake double came from. But instead, this is actually a real double. Real double factory, and is Boxer just going to win it outright right here? He's got a little bit more forces, and the second Vulture coming in is going to really outdo the Marines, and he's actually lost the tank as well. That is huge. He needed to protect that tank. And what is going on? It's the shenanigans. It's shenanigans, ladies and gentlemen. He's actually putting a tank on top of Nada's ramp. I'm sorry, a bunker on top of Nada's ramp. Nada's been forced back, and I think maybe he's like, okay, well, I don't know if I can push down that ramp. He's a little bit lower on the Marine count, so by making that bunker, he's actually just increasing the hit points of his Marines by 400, basically. And now Nada trying to push out a little bit, and he's going to be forced back. He was going for some sort of a weird bio thing where he's going to have medic Marines with like 1 or 2 tanks, but instead, he's being forced back. That medic is not worth a second tank at all, or the second tank for Boxer's just completely overrunning him. He's now producing a bunker inside Nada. If that bunker completes and he gets Marines in it, it is all over, ladies and gentlemen. Nada's pushing back, desperately trying to push back against those 2 tanks, trying to push back, and the Marines get into the bunker. I don't know how Nada can come back from this right now. He's only got 1 factory. Boxer's pushing out 2 factories worth of units, plus possibly Marines as well, coming from the barracks as well. It's possible Nada has some kind of a tech advantage. I didn't see if we saw his... Okay, he does have siege mode. He does have siege mode, and Boxer does not, and that is the tech advantage that might get him back into this game. No, Boxer has siege mode now too. Boxer is able to shell the factory. The barracks in the air. This is going to mean he has a little bit of advantage. No, Boxer's tanks hit the closest tanks. Oh, is he going to be able to finish off that tank? I don't think his tank is within range. No, Nada loses 2 of his tanks. Oh no, this is disastrous for Nada. Boxer's pushing in so far. And it looks like the one moment that Nada had to come back to this, when he had siege mode and Boxer didn't, he didn't quite push out far enough, but the SCVs are coming off the line, and there's no more Marines! There's no Marines, there's no bunker to protect those tanks, so the SCVs are actually going to kill off the tank with the medic supporting the SCVs! This is insanity! This is insanity! Can Nada recover from this? He has, actually they both have barracks in the air at this spot now, so, whoa, is he going to try and bait some shots with the SCVs? Try and get close enough? Probably needed to follow up. Is that SCV going to take him out? No, the medic cannot do the final bit of damage, so that tank is very, very badly damaged, but it is still able to fire complete shots, even with low hit points. That's how this game works, and, look at this. He's actually having to repair his factory because it's being shelled now. And the vision is not a big deal. They can both see each other. Oh, and we're having a moment of unsiege and siege on Boxer's end where Nada can actually get a couple shots in, and Nada has killed the tanks. Nada has actually killed the tanks. Boxer's going to have to retreat to the high ground. I don't know if retreat's the right word, actually, because he doesn't have any real units to fall back up that ramp, but he's going to have to retreat to holding the high ground and resort to holding that high ground. He does sneak a couple vultures in here. The tanks are going to have to fall back to kill the vulture, though. Vulture gets 1 SCV kill, almost 2. And while he's falling back, is Boxer able to capitalize? Looks like no. Oh, he's got the tanks. He's got the Superior tank out, but Boxer has the high ground advantage. He's got an SCV there to try and soak up hit points. And a second tank has now come in there. The high ground advantage is so huge, though, and Boxer is going to win with that advantage. Even having a little bit less of tank count, the couple SCVs in the mix actually made the difference. And there's a starport in play. This is the shenanigan game of all time, ladies and gentlemen. That's complete exaggeration. It's really not, but this is absolutely bonkers, the crazy stuff that is going on in this play. There's even a tank that is so confused it's just running around by that crazy dead desert plant or rock formation or whatever it is. And what? There's 2 starports being built for Boxer. Wait, what is going on? Was it Boxer's starport? I thought it was Nada's starport. It was actually Boxer's starport. And he's now pushing out with this Wraith. Nada is following up with 2 starports, but if those starports never finish because the SCVs are picked off by a Wraith, it won't do much good. And it's a really nice gambit by Nada to try and say, okay, well, I'm contained. I'm not going to be able to get out of this by going uphill with my tanks. So instead, I'm going to go above the hill with my Wraiths. And, but Boxer already has a Wraith in the air. He's going to have a second Wraith out as well, probably rallying over here too. And while he's dealing with this, Boxer's going to push down to the low ground with his tanks as well. Nada desperately trying to repair, and he loses 1 tank. The other one is being attacked by the Wraith and the tanks. No, actually, no, the tanks are just hitting the machine shop. which is actually really bad as well. He needs to keep up tank production. Even if he gets more raids out, he needs to get tank production. 5 tanks are now on the low ground. He's repairing the tank and not the factory. The factory goes down. Nada has 1 tank left for the rest of the game. He's going to abandon it and go to mine some gas so he can try and produce wraiths. Try and somehow get back into this game with 2 wraiths. And that lady is perhaps a Nada fan because she is devastated by this turn of events that Nada is now up against the ropes, being battered by the tanks. Nada is catching his breath. He's got both hands in front of his face, trying to protect from the blows of the Boxer that has him up against the ropes. But Boxer has an equal wraith count. Nada needs a moment. He needs a moment to get another round of wraiths out, or he needs to repair those wraiths perhaps. He doesn't repair the wraiths. Looks like he's finally... Is he going to repair it? No, that SCV's confused. He doesn't repair the wraith, and they trade blows. He could have repaired that wraith and won that battle. Sorry, my voice is... I'm choking on my own voice right now. But he does actually have more wraiths coming out. So Nada does have a little bit of advantage, but there's Goliaths in play. And once the Goliaths arrive to back up those tanks, it's going to be over. There's nothing you can do about that. He's even getting his command center shelled. He's trying to repair his command center to keep it from going down to the consistent tank fire. Nada, again, momentarily has extra wraiths, but it's just he needs to go kill those tanks right now. And the Goliaths are about to run down the hill, and when they do, we're going to see the GG come out, I believe, from Nada, because there's just nothing he's going to be able to do with that few wraiths without Cloak. And, yeah, definitely not a confident look for Nada there. I think he's going to look at this. Half of his SCVs, which is 3, he's got 6 total SCVs, are repairing his command center. And there's the GG, finally gives in. Wow. What a game. What a game! Everything you could expect from a Nada versus Boxer, Terran versus Terran. Craziness. Even with mirror builds to start off with, we got some craziness going on. I mean, it was mirror up until the second factory, obviously. Boxer going for this 2 factory push, and Nada actually doing a really good job of holding it off, considering that he had just basically less of everything. He had less production. He only had 1 factory, and, you know, when your opponent can produce twice as much stuff as you, you're at a bit of a disadvantage. So, extremely well played by Nada regardless, and just held off for so long, and, but wasn't quite able to hold off long enough to get those wraiths out. And, you know, we did see a little bit of a misplay there where he could have done a little bit more with repairing his wraiths in order to maintain those wraith advantage. I mean, imagine at the end there, Nada has, you know, 5 or 6 wraiths instead of 2. At a certain point, that could have been the situation. You know, then that could have turned things around a little bit earlier, because if you got 5 wraiths, you can kill off tanks pretty quickly. And he could have killed off 2 or 3 tanks before those Goliaths arrived, and then it would have been a very, very different story. Especially if he was able to kill off the tanks before his own factory died, for example. And he'd be able to keep that factory and keep putting out more tanks, or at least vultures, or something along those lines. So it was close. It was really close. It looked like Nada was just, you know, at the short end of the stick the entire game, but I think it was probably closer than we imagined. So, but GG, Boxer going up 2-0 in the group. Nada, of course, won his first game, so he's at 1-1, actually. And so that's going to be pretty intense for Nada. Again, he's in a little bit of a bad situation, and guess what? The next game is Over Sky versus Nada. We're going to have the 2 players with 1-1 scores going up against each other to see who is going to pretty much secure an advancement, almost secure an advancement. I think that would secure an advancement, actually, yeah. And who's going to be relegated to hoping for some kind of a miracle with tiebreakers, theoretically. Again, it might not be possible, but it's not worth doing the math right now. It's better to just do the games and then see how it turns out. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching, and GG to Boxer.